Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Violet Rain.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Violet Rain, and my guest today is Sophia Soul. Few people have had the kind of life that Sophia has had and ended up running a worldwide organization dedicated to empowerment of self and others. Having been born with a genetic disorder and undergoing about 30 operations, Sophia has faced many challenges in all aspects of her life, from chronic pain, extreme bullying, sexual and emotional abuse, mental health issues that led to suicide attempts. She can honestly say, I have lived through many challenges and have been able to completely transform my life with constant practice and awareness. For Sophia, sound healing and breath work became her way to heal her body on both the physical and emotional levels, so much that she now lives a life free of pain and drugs. The power of positive thought and self-esteem has also completely changed her as a person. Sophia now lives a life that's full of possibilities. She wakes up every day giving thanks for being alive, and she believes that the power of the mind contains the answers to everything we ever desire. And today she's up in the middle of the night to chat with us on our podcast. So we're so excited to have her from Australia today, being able to connect with us. So welcome.
Thank you, Violet. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I can't wait to hear all about your story. So, talk to us a little bit about your journey and what led you to live this positive life.
Wow, how long have we got? The very short answer to that, what led me to live this positive life, is I realized that I have a choice. I could be a victim for the rest of my life, or I could take responsibility for my life and make it the best that I can. Very simply, like I was born with a genetic condition. So I have had over 30 operations. Physically, if we ever meet, I'm kind of a little bit vertically challenged. I'm 4 foot something, which keeps changing because I think I keep shrinking. And through that whole journey, so especially at a younger age, when people don't know if there's anything different, if there's anyone that looks different, or if there's anyone that acts differently, or anything that's different from outside the norm, especially children and teenagers, they don't know how to react to it. So that is a lot of where bullying comes from. A lot, not all, but a lot. And I was very different. I stood out like anything. All right. At school, at high school, at primary school, at lower school, it was okay because we all grew up together. But once you go into a bigger school and no one knows you, so I was treated like an alien, basically, and very, very bullied. And that whole experience at first led me to a thing like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to be here. I'm not worthy to be alive. I'm not worthy to speak, because every time I spoke, I kept getting interrupted and cut off. So I developed an extremely bad stutter and had to learn how to talk all over again. And the fact is, I'm not worthy to be here. So there were a few occasions that I decided that I did not want to be here. Luckily, the universe had other plans for me. And that kept going for a few years until one day I just realized that, this is my life. I can really continue to live this life like I am and be this victim and experience, all the trauma that was not just the physical trauma of having the operations, because up until about 18, I've had about 30 operations, and since then I've had a few more. And that is traumatic for the body, right? But then emotionally, all the bullying and everything else, you can allow it to affect you, or you can use the experiences, use the opportunities to empower you. And that's what I did, because I knew that life had a bigger purpose. I knew that I was meant to be here for something else. I knew that. I didn't know what, but I just knew. And all my life I have followed my guidance. I've been connected to the universe in a very deep, deep way. So I just made that decision to get on with my life and not let it affect me as much as I possibly could. As much. We all carry things, and I'm still getting rid of a lot of the stuff that we carry. You know, we all carry our shadows. We all carry our suppressed experiences that we've had from whether, this life, whether or not you believe in another life, that's a whole other conversation. But we all carry those, and they do affect us. And a lot of times without knowing, but it doesn't have to, they don't have to control our life, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. So I know some people that I've been connected with that are in that victim energy, right? But I don't know that they really understand that they're in that victim energy, right? It's all they've ever known. It's all they've ever experienced. They don't know anything else. So what would you tell people that may be sitting in that victim energy that don't even realize it? What are some of the thoughts and outcomes and behaviors and experiences somebody has that might be sitting in that, to understand that there is accountability and responsibility, and you can change that if you choose to?
You can. You can. I mean, I realized for the first part of my life, especially teenagers and teenage years and later teenagers, I was blaming everyone for everything that happened to me, right? It's my mother's fault that I was born this way. It's the universe's fault that this happened. It's my sister's fault that this happened, and all sorts of stuff, because I have a sister who doesn't have this condition, right? We're very, very different. But I used to blame her for a lot of things. I blamed my mother for so much. And I also blamed the universe. Why did you do this to me? It's not fair. What about all these other people that are born with a golden spoon in their mouth? Why me? Why? Where it's actually got nothing to do with my mother, my sister, the universe, or anyone else. I really believe in a physical way with this physical body. I signed up for this. I signed a contract that I would take birth in this body because I had to learn all the lessons that come with it. And that also includes everything else that happens to us. Every single thing that I experience, every single thing that happens to me, even though there are other people involved, because there has to be, I manifested it in whatever way that is. Whatever it depends on the situation. That I'm responsible for my actions. No one else is. It's my life. It's my actions. So if I'm sitting at home feeling down and depressed, that's my responsibility. I can't say that, all my friends left me here and they went out and had a good time and poor me. It's my choice to stay here. That's just one example, whatever it is. It always comes down to every single thing that happens in my life is my choice.
I love that. I love that because here's the key elements I heard. If I'm continuously blaming someone else, something else, somewhere else, if I'm saying it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, and I'm not taking responsibility, that's the key here. And also understanding everything's a choice. So we talk about the glass half full and the glass half empty, right? Do you see the glass half full or do you see it half empty? And we can give several people the same scenarios, the same experiences, and people are going to react to those very differently. And some are going to see that glass half full and they're going to blame and not take responsibility and be that victim. And some people are going to take that exact same experience and say, thank you for this lesson. What do I need to do to change it myself? What choice do I need to change so that I can change how I'm reacting to this? What do I need to heal within me to move through this? And when you can move over to that side, it's a game changer for your life.
Totally, because you're taking back your power. When I'm blaming others, other situations, other people for what's happening in my life, I'm giving away my power. Right? I'm giving away those opportunities to grow, to change. I really believe, Violet, that we're on this planet for two reasons. One is to really experience joy, right? Life is meant to be joyful. It's not meant to be struggle. It's not meant to be, pain and everything else. It is meant to be joyful. And the other reason is to learn the lessons so it is joyful. To go through all the crap that we have taken on, that we have actually signed a contract for, even though we've forgotten about it. But to go through it all, to get rid of all the crap, so we can experience a life of joy and happiness. But that won't happen if I continually blame everyone else for what's going on in my life. And that's the key. It's my life.
I love that, though. I love that. What I think our listeners need to understand is we do learn lessons in this life. And another great example of that is the universe is always teaching us the whole spectrum. So I have my students every year pick a word for their year. Like, what word do you want to lean into? What word do you want to step into? And one year, my daughter picked the word peace. I want peace. And instead of the universe giving her a life filled with peace, it gave her challenges to learn how to find peace within the chaos, right? Because again, it's the whole spectrum. So when we come into this life, whatever contract we've chosen, whatever relationship we've chosen, sometimes the universe wants you to have the whole spectrum, because how do you know love unless you've lived a life without love? And how do you know peace unless you've lived a life with a lot of chaos and had to find peace, right? So it is perspective. And I think that's what we're talking about is how do you move through your life and take responsibility and make better choices for what you're choosing and how you want to move through it. I think that's the key. But you also talk about the secrets of sound.
Oh,
What
yes.
is sound for you? What does sound for you? Share with us your perspective.
Oh, sound. I love sound. Sound is my medicine, and breath work too. But sound first started me on this whole journey, or one of them, of healing, because I've had over 30 operations. I've been in chronic extreme pain, so much that a few times I felt like my leg was on fire. And I've had so many drugs with all the operations, that everything that's been pumped into me. And I spent many years, because where I grew up, it was just then a country town, and they didn't know what I had. They didn't know what was wrong with me. I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was in my 20s. All they knew is I was in a lot of pain and had these lumps of cartilage on all my joints that had to be removed. So they had surgery, took them off, and they would grow back again, and they took them off. So lots of drugs. I would take lots of drugs. I would even self-inject pethidine at times. And I don't know, pethidine now in Australia, I don't know about the US, but now in Australia it's almost banned because it's highly addictive. And all sorts of other stuff. And I became very toxic, which also added to the pain. And then one day I met someone. I wanted to do some breath work because I wanted to release a lot of childhood trauma around money, childhood issues around money, because I also grew up in a family that was, I basically grew up in a financial war zone. My parents fought about money constantly. So as a child, I absorbed that. And I've had ongoing issues with money. So a good few years ago, about 10 years ago, probably roughly, I went and saw a breath worker to release trauma around money, who also happened to be a sound healer. And I'd never experienced sound. I tried all sorts of modalities before this. Because I made a decision, Violet, also couple of years before that, my body screamed at me because I needed 2 knee replacements. I completely wrecked my knees. I fell downstairs and completely tore my knees. And they said, there's nothing you can do, just have 2 knee replacements. And my body screamed at me and just said, no more surgery. No more drugs. There has to be another way. And that's going off the thing. And I tried all different things, but then I went to see this breath worker who was a sound healer. And while I was breathing, this person got out his instruments, his voice, his bowl, his drum, whatever else, and started making all this sound. And my body woke up. It was an amazing experience. And it was like my body said, this is what I need. This is what will heal me. All the other modalities helped take away the pain, but it didn't go into the healing, where sound for me helped heal my body. And over many experiences of sound healing, because I then became a sound healing junkie, and traveled with a sound healer and was able to become a sound practitioner. I've got my own bowls and everything. But over many experiences, I literally felt my body heal. I felt my hip, because I had chronic, not chronic, but osteoporosis. And my hip was just, whatever the osteoporosis does, it's not very good. And I felt my hip being glued back together. I felt my knee being sewn back together, literally. And there was one experience where I was laying down during a sound healing, and it felt like I had 6 hands over the top of me, drawing out the pain. So sound is my medicine. I don't take any drugs, and breath work too. I'm still, when I say, I live a pain-free life, that's probably not true, because I still get in a lot of pain, especially when I overdo it. But I don't take drugs. I use sound and I use breath work to release the pain. And yeah, I hope that answered your question in a lot.
No, I love that answer, because I'm a sound healer too. Yeah. And I had a shaman once tell me that we have our own sound, that we are our own sound. And when we come into this world, our sound is really, really set and perfect. And after we've had our experiences and the things that we have, our sound gets off kilter, right? it gets, like you said, your body starts reacting because you're kind of off and you're not in alignment with that divine soul of who you are. And as you do sound healing, it starts moving your body back into that alignment
Yes.
of who you are, which does heal. And so a lot of people, I do sound baths, which I'm sure you do, and I have people come and I tell them all the time, this is going to help if you do this on a regular basis. It starts moving energy in your body so that you come back into alignment. And it also relieves that stress you've had for the week and that tension you've had for the week and all of that stuff so you can come back into alignment. I love sound as well, and toning, and all of that helps us come back into who we are.
It does. Because it's natural. You know, sound has been around since day dot, time dot, whatever you believe in how long we've been here for. And all our indigenous cultures use their sound, their instruments, their voice, plus they're also their natural, healing modalities too. They don't go down the road and get a pill. Yes, we have medicine here for that helps us for certain things. I broke my shoulder once. I landed on my shoulder and completely, smashed my shoulder up. I wasn't in any pain. It took me 2 days to find out that I'd actually broke my shoulder, but I went and had surgery because it's like, okay, this is, I could use sound to heal it, but it's going to take a little while. Let's go and have the surgery. But the indigenous cultures use their instruments and their voice and everything to bring the body back into alignment, like you were saying. We get in pain and we get sick because we are out of alignment. It's, we get dis-eased. We're no longer in ease with life, right? And we manifest a disease. I really believe, again, everything that happens to us in a physical way, any diseases we have created. And if we have created, we can uncreate them with our mind and using the methods, the healing modalities that the universe has provided, including sound, including breath. I mean, breath is with us forever. But as adults, we don't breathe properly.
Right.
But when we learn how to breathe properly, and when we do that on a continuous basis, like the sound healing, like you said, you really notice transformation. You really notice that your body is healing.
I love that. I love that. You also talk about the value of community, which is another area that I think is so important because we're human and we're social and we need that community connection. So talk to us about the value of having community.
I think it was Anthony Maslow. And I know Tony Robbins also talks about the 6 human needs. And one of those needs is connection. As humans, we are brought up as social creatures, social beings. We are not meant to be alone. It does not work. We are meant to be with others. And even though the others will bring up stuff and they'll push our buttons because that's what they're there for, we have this huge need to connect, whether that is a family community, a village community. Again, our indigenous cultures, and way back when we were brought up in villages, and that is our community. Now we tend to, in a generalization, in the Western world especially, live isolated lives and really have more relationships with our devices than we do with other people. But community helps, they're there to support us. They're there to help us grow. They're there, other people are there to, like I said, to push our buttons, because that's the only way we're going to grow. But community has your back. And that's the biggest thing. You know, so many people, especially women and also men, think that they've got to go through things on their own. We forget that there are many people out there that have been through similar things, not exactly the same, because we all live our individual lives, but similar things that understand you. You know, I get you. I hear you. I'm there for you. I've been down that path.
I agree. I think it helps, especially sometimes we're very spiritual or we're experiencing awakening or things are happening. And maybe our family, maybe our coworkers, maybe our community, the same things aren't happening and we feel very alone. So finding a community that similar things are happening really helps us feel not so isolated and alone.
Yes, and that's it. And I have the honor, if I can say, and this is, you know, when you live a life, when you're connected to the universe and you follow your guidance. I've had some amazing experiences traveling and meeting people, all by guidance. And now I've been guided to, you know, to co-create a global community and SacredU, and I've seen the transformation of so many women just by connecting with others. And even if it's online, obviously the most powerful community is in person, right? Especially. But if you can't do that for whatever reason, and you can't always meet people from all over the world in person, then we have an online community. And again, even though it's online, I've seen incredible experiences and transformations of women when they connect with others who are there to have their back. And first, you know, everyone is extremely shy and very hesitant. But then when you just allow yourself, just that little bit, just giving yourself permission just to reach out or just to accept, you know, someone else's hand, whether it's virtually or in person, you know, magic happens.
I love that. So, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you offer. We'll have your website at the bottom of the video and also in the description where people can connect directly to you and contact you. But what are some of the things that you offer others that might be interested?
Well, for SacredU, it's all about that sacredness and bringing back that sacredness to ourselves. It's all about you, right? Ourselves. So what we offer, okay, our foundation is we have our special interest tribes, and they're their main part. So people come from all over the world who might have an interest, may have an interest in sound, for example. We've got another host from Texas who's a sound practitioner. She has Sounds of the Soul. They might have an interest in psychic development. We have a tribe for that. They may have an interest in empowering themselves, right? And they really want to help empower themselves and help empower others. So we have an Empowered You tribe. We have tribes that work on our self-esteem. We have tribes where we just have really deep discussions. We have a spiritual wisdom tribe where we read different books and really go into the depths of that. We have an astrology tribe. We've just got a recent one it's called Moon Medicine Circle. Right, who the host is from Canada, and she goes very much into how we can use the moon and the cycles of the moon to help us with our emotions and what's going on in life. We have, I'm just trying to think of all the different tribes. We have manifestation tribes. We have law of attraction tribes and a money mindset manifestation. We have all different tribes. So that's our basic, that's what we first started out and what we're growing, and we're always looking for people who are always open for anyone who wants to host their own tribe. We have lots of other things. We run panel discussions. Every week we do a panel discussion. We've got one coming up on leadership redefined. We bring in women from all over the world who would like to be panelists on these different topics, which is all around women's empowerment. We do our podcast. We have our Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. And Violet, I'd love for you to be a guest on our podcast. We have lots of community events where we just get together and connect. You know, some of them we play online jigsaw puzzles. You're playing a jigsaw puzzle with someone that you may never meet in person, but you develop a great friendship from the other side of the world. You know, we have those other events where we just come and connect and chat. Many different things. We have a free membership where people can come and join our village. We have our online village where they have access to many resources, including live sound healing. So I go live every week. We have a angelic insights tribe where the host of that does weekly angel card reading live. And our free members get access to that, plus other things. There's so many things that they get access. Then I said, then we have our tribes. And then we offer a platform for anyone who would like to host a tribe, someone who has a business maybe, and use it as another arm, another path to their business, where they can attract people who are interested in what they have to offer. So you've already developed people who are interested. You don't have to go out there cold marketing, and you have, you know, you go through the know, like, and trust factor, and you've got a clients or customers or whoever who are already interested. And when you have an offer, they go, yeah, I'll take that. So many things, and we're still growing. We offer a content creation service for people on our podcast or any other podcasters who want their own content that's branded. Then we can create that. We've got some incredible video editors, and we use AI, a specially trained AI, to get the best out of the podcast, out of the conversation. The hook points that are really going to hook people in, to create the videos and the reels and all the other content that we can create. Lots of things that we offer.
It sounds like it. It sounds pretty awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sophia, for sharing with us today.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
It's been lovely to have you. And those listening, I hope you'll like, comment, and follow us on your favorite channels or platforms. Whether you're watching the video or just listening to the podcast, we'd love to have your feedback. And I thank Sophia for taking the time today to spend and chat with us. But also, I look forward to seeing you on another one of our shows or on our chats. Thank you so much, and I wish you a very sacred and a magical week and day.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Violet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Violet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.